Okay, in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create our pop art project. And I've already got my 3 photographs um, prepared. And you'll note that I've shot them on as plain of a background as I could get. It's going to be a little trickier on my feet, but we'll get to that. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to create a new file. And I'm going to create this file 11 by 17 inches. Actually, I'm going to do 17 wide and 11 high and 300 for the resolution. Make sure that this is set to inches and not anything else. And I'm also going to name it Pop Art. Okay, now I'm going to take my picture, my first picture of myself, and open it in Photoshop. I'm going to drag it to the Photoshop icon on the dock. You'll see it's now opened in a separate tab. I'm going to use a selection tool called the Quick Select tool. It's the 4th tool down on the toolbar. This may default to the magic wand, like I just selected. Make sure, if you click and hold down on this, that it is actually set to the quick selection tool. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything that is not me. If you look at me, I've got different colors, lots of shadows, different colored clothes. There's a lot of variation within the shapes of me, whereas the background is pretty simple. So I'm going to click and drag on the background, and you can see the quick selection tool has jumped to some edges and made some decisions as to what it wants to grab. Now it also grabbed my arm. I don't want that, but we'll fix that in a minute. So I'm going to go around and select everything that's not me. And you can see, again, it did take some of me. So what I'm going to do now is fix that. Now, to make our brush smaller, I'm going to push this left bracket to make the brush smaller, right bracket to make it larger, and that is right next to the letter P on your keyboard, these brackets. Okay. Now I'm going to zoom in by doing Command plus on the keyboard. Command plus zooms in, Command minus zooms out, and Command 0 recenters. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a bit. I've got my smaller brush now with my quick select tool, and I'm going to unselect my hand and my leg and some other parts. So if I hold the Option key on the keyboard, you can see Option turns to minus. That little center of the brush, the plus becomes a minus. So I'm going to hold down Option and drag here, and it's reversing the flow of the quick select tool. Okay. Zoom my brush a little smaller, zoom in a little bit more, Option click. Okay, now if it's now unselected some parts, I just release Option, right? And I can plus those back. I can make my brush really small. Try to plus in between here and that little bit there. Okay, I'm going to minus this, hold down Option, plus that. So you're just sort of guiding it back and forth, minusing on yourself and adding to the background. I'm going to go down here, I can make my brush bigger, minus this whole area. Now my feet and the floor and this little strip back here, there's all kind of similar colors there. So the quick select tool doesn't do the greatest job. So I have to kind of go in here and sort of guide it. Might be a little more correction needed for an area where the object and the background are so similar. So again, I'm just minusing it on myself, plussing it on areas that I want to ultimately remove. Yeah, you can see this area by my shoe. It really doesn't know what to do. You have to tell it a couple times. Okay, I'm going to minus the other shoe and say, hey, no, wait a minute. Plus that area, minus here. Okay, it does a really good job when the background is different than the subject. So it's doing pretty good here. Make my brush smaller, zoom in a little bit. I'm going to minus here, plus, okay, minus. And you just want to go through and do this as best you can. Okay, make my brush small, plus in right through there. That's pretty good. Minus. Okay, my finger's really light there too, so it's a little confused. Almost matches the background. Okay, so if we kind of look around, you can see this crawling ant line is what this selection is called, and it looks pretty good. Okay, I'm just going to Command 0 to resume it. Okay, so what I've done effectively is select everything that's not me, but I really want everything that is me. So I need to go to the Select menu and go to Inverse, or Command-Shift-I on the keyboard. That's the keyboard shortcut there. Inverse. Now you can see it's selected the opposite of what it had, so everything that wasn't me has become everything that is me. Okay, so I've got a really good selection now. If I were to move this, you can see it's cut out, but it's leaving some kind of jagged edges. So I want to make a nice smooth selection. So I'm going to go to my Select menu and select Refine Edge. Okay, now in Refine Edge, you've got different view modes. If you wanted to see it on a black background, sometimes that helps if you were shooting on a white background already. That way you can really see like how well it's cutting out. But you've got different ways of looking at this. I'm going to do it on black. Then I'm going to go to bring smooth up a little bit, feather just a little bit. If you bring feather up too high, you can see it makes this like halo kind of a thing. We don't want that. So just a little bit of that. And then if you look at this like sort of like a white strip that's around part of me, I'm going to remove that by going Shift Edge, and you can bring your edge in. Okay, so bring that to minus, however much you might need. Might have gone a little overboard there. Okay, so now if I hit OK, it appears that nothing has happened, but that selection actually has a refined edge. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to go to Edit, Copy, or Command C on the keyboard, flip over to my other tab, and go to Edit, Paste. Okay, and that is the first part of the video. Basically, you're going to go through and cut out all three of these pictures and place them all into here. Okay, I'm going to do that real quick off video, and then we'll return in part 2 and I'll show you the pop art techniques.